Have you ever wondered, what the roles of the buoys throughout the Great Lakes have throughout the area? Also, what is a meteo tsunami, and how do lake temperatures throughout the summer play a role in the winter? And next to me, I have Steve Ruberg from NOAA. He's a researcher and the buoys. I noticed them throughout the Great Lakes here in Thunder Bay, and what type of data is usually collected from those?
Well, primarily the buoy that is out in Thunder Bay is providing us wave heights, wind speeds, things like that. Things that would be considered observations for navigation safety. We also are measuring some parameters on the bottom that give us an indication of maybe the turbidity of the water, which can contribute to whether or not somebody might make a decision to dive out there. We also report water temperature.
I noticed that throughout this past winter, it was a warm winter. The lake did not completely freeze over. And now we're into the summer. We've had a good amount of rain, and it's been a relatively cool summer. So I've been curious to know how the summer temperatures affect, the upcoming winter when it comes to the lakes.
Yeah, I mean, overall, warmer temperatures and a deeper warm temperature. So in other words, the lake will warm down to a certain depth. That can actually result in things like more lake effect snow. So if it's warmer, so when you get those cold air systems in December and January and that sort of thing, you can actually get more lake effect snow. It can also lead to so if you have a colder winter, you can have a situation where that cold water may actually carry over through the summer, and if the water is colder in December and January, less evaporation would mean you could have higher lake levels.
Throughout the Great Lakes, there's this thing called meteo tsunamis, and these, based off what I read, meteo tsunamis are tsunami-like waves that are created, by meteorological origin, usually based off, change in barometric pressure. But how frequent are those throughout the Great Lakes, and if there's any other special waves as well that happen throughout the Great Lakes?
Well, there are a couple of different types of well, there are several different types of waves. We have wind-driven waves, which of course is what NOAA provides a boater forecast for that. There's another type of lake level change event, which is a seiche. That's more forecastable. So if we have winds that are going to be persistent out of the north, or for instance on Lake Erie, out of the southwest, you end up with a situation where the water sort of stacks up on the Buffalo side of the lake and then recedes on the Toledo side of the lake. There's similar events that can happen on Lake Huron as well. The meteo tsunami event is typically associated with lines of thunderstorms. If a line of thunderstorms is moving fairly rapidly across the lake, it has the effect of creating a bow wave and can create this low frequency wave that can actually cause surges up on land. That's much more like a earthquake activated tsunami. That's why it got the label of meteo tsunami.
Obviously now with, the age of climate change that we're dealing with right now with the warming temperatures and also affecting both land and water, here with the shipwrecks, obviously the cold water has preserved these shipwrecks for, hundreds of years. But with the warming waters, has there been noticeable changes on those shipwrecks over, say the last 20, 30 years, and predictions maybe for the future?
Well, the largest signal that we see in the Great Lakes is that the long-term trend is that there's much less ice cover. And so that is something that could impact wrecks that are in shallower water, for instance. Ice tends to take those shallow water wrecks and just move them around and that sort of thing. So that is one potential impact. The larger impact is not necessarily a climatological impact. It's a biological one. So these invasive mussels that are now able to get on the wrecks appear to be doing some damage and that sort of thing, and they actually take away some of the, you can't see as much of the wreck and things like that.
Steve, thank you for meeting up with me today. You answered all my questions about, the climate, about the Great Lakes. Been very curious about it over the last year. Appreciate the opportunity. Any other remarks?
Oh, happy to talk to you, and it was a pleasure meeting you and talking to you about the Great Lakes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm meteorologist Ulysses Garcia from WBKB.